Welcome back to episode 3 of the Mocktown podcast. How are you all doing?
Hello there, my name's Declan. I am your co-host.
Saxon here. Let's talk about One Piece. Chapter 1044 has dropped, so that is going to be the main talking point of this episode, but we will be doing a double feature this week and releasing 2 episodes. The other one will be about 1045, which released yesterday on Sunday the 6th. So yeah, welcome back. Good to have you back at the Mocktown pub. How you doing? How'd you find this chapter?
First of all, I want to hijack things today. Because it's a very special day today. It's Saxon's birthday. And I've got something.
Oh, you're kidding. This guy's too nice.
I've got something. Sorry, bear with me. I've got to open up my bag. Mic down.
What could this be? I'm excited. Oh, thank you. Look at that. This guy's too good.
I was so nervous about this. My bag was so bulky. That's
I didn't even notice.
Now, there's a bit of a joke behind this, somewhat.
You're kidding. Oh yeah, this has been a workplace joke for a while. This is something we sell, and I refuse to buy. But the young man over here, thank you very much.
Little cheeky devil over here. Hopefully the unwrapping is not too bad. Look at that. Hungry big mum.
We got the Big Mum Pop, the hungry Big Mum. She's out here. She wants cake. She's got cake. She wants cake.
Brother.
No, thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
This has been the Mocktown podcast.
This has been the Mocktown. I love cherry pie. No, thank you very much. I think maybe for this episode, we're going to have a guest of honor just sitting there in the background.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfectly in frame. We love that. No, thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, thank you. It's always nice to get to celebrate your birthday with some friends, and I'm actually very happy. That was real awkward. Thanks to everyone that watched that. Yeah, let's go again. There we go. Yeah, no, it's always nice, and I'm really grateful I get to record this pod. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. Episode 3, I'm excited.
45, would you believe it?
Yeah.
Never looked younger.
45 years old. Yep, I was born in 1980. The year 1980.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm an old chicken.
Aries.
Looks like a spry chicken. I am an Aries. But no, I wasn't.
I did some research.
I wasn't born in 1980. But that's a mystery for you to figure out. Could be 30. Could be 10. I don't know. I look about 15.
Leave it in the comments.
But yeah, no, thank you very much again. So yeah, welcome back to the
Sorry to throw you off.
Latest episode. No, that's so fine. Love a good surprise. It's always a little bit of fun. Yeah, this week's episode we're going to be talking about 1144. Sorry, I'm defaulting to the 10s again.
Is it 11 really?
1144.
I feel like that's right, but it doesn't seem correct.
It is shocking, honestly.
What a journey.
What a journey. It feels like, honestly, since chapter 1000, it has been just between 1050. Like, it doesn't feel like we should go beyond 1000, especially not into the 100s. But here we are, halfway through, and I'm sure by the end of the arc we'll be at 1200 roughly. I feel like that would make sense for the length. Like, what we got? I don't think 50 chapters is much.
Big giants, big chapters.
Big giants, big chapters. Like, I could really see us being here till the end of 2026. I could see 50 chapters getting dropped between then and now. So,
yeah,
I think this is going to be a really big arc.
Giants.
Yeah, top tier comedy there. All planned. But yeah, I just wanted to start this chapter. What were your thoughts and feelings of 1144 as a chapter?
Interesting. Lots of setup for things. I feel like the recent chapters have just been setting up big things to come. I think it was it wasn't like a reveal. Do we want to discuss chapter things or just talk feelings for now?
Let's just talk feelings for now. So you liked it.
We're exploring a lot of Elbaph.
Yeah, it felt like an exciting start to the setup for the confrontation. And I don't think this will be the final confrontation. I think this will be like similar to Kaido knocking out the mountain sort of level confrontation. Shit could get messed up. I think alternatively in this one, it's going to be much more like Egghead with the first Luffy and Lucci fight. I think that the Giants and the Straw Hats are going to walk away from this one pretty well. But I think the God's Knights are going to come back heavy-handed for the back half of the arc. So I think this is just setting up the first confrontation.
I think especially now we know that the God's Knights can just be summoned.
Yes.
Like, there's no, we have to wait for the ship to arrive. They just show up. They just draw that little pentagram and pop up. Some in their undies.
Yeah. I feel like 2 of them in the undies. One of them as a dragon, which we got into plenty. Mm-hmm. And then a reveal next chapter that happened regarding the people on the island. So I'm gonna leave that for next episode. But it seems there was a change to the lineup of people that were there.
Yep.
There's only 3. Someone could be missing.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think Shamrock's left, but
wasn't that already discussed previous chapter?
Has he? Well, then yes, sure. I can't remember. It's a lot of content to get through. So yeah, well, if that was pre-revealed, it was confirmed in 11:45. But who cares? We're on 11:44 today. We're gonna start with the chapter starts, and that's with Yamato's pilgrimage. Not the most interesting cover story we've had. I feel like it's been running really slowly. We've spent probably 5 or 6 chapters at Who's base. This week, it was discovered that Minamoto has been saved, as well as Pepe and Page 1 and Ulti. Yes. All 3 have been saved. Minamoto, interesting one to save. Not sure if anyone really knows much about Minamoto. He's a carpenter in the Wano region. He popped up a few times in Wano, but he actually has connections to I think it's chapter 3, to the Romance Dawn arc. Minamoto, his brother, has been in the story since the fight between Haguma the bear and Shanks. In that scene, you'll see Haguma kicks a door open, and it swings open and breaks off. And then in the next panel, where you see the door, it's back on the hinges. Now, Oda explained this by saying there's a carpenter that just fixes things quickly, and drew a little photo. And it's identical to Minamoto. This was all in an SBS. And then when Minamoto was introduced in an SBS, someone mentioned, hey, this looks like the guy who fixes doors. It's his brother. There's one in Wano, and then there's one in the rest of the world.
Haguma the bear.
What you know about Haguma the bear? 3,000 berry bounty, baby.
Oh, one of the mountain bears?
Mountain bear. You don't know Haguma the bear?
I didn't know his name.
You don't know Haguma the bear?
Look, I was intimidated by that character. I wanted nothing
that 3,000 berry bounty. What did you think Shank's bounty was when he...
That's like, I reckon that was like 2 bill.
Well, now it's we did it.
Now it's 5?
4.8 or 4.45.
I reckon he could
4.0489.
I reckon he could have been 1 to 2 bill.
At this point, yeah, I would say he'd probably cross the 1 bill mark.
Former Roger Pirate.
Get
them in jail.
And the world government is well aware that he is a celestial dragon, so that probably kept his bounty up a little bit more.
Or less. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like the Holy Knights are particularly desperate to get Shanks back, or else it would have happened already. I think Garling probably could have gone after Roger to try and get Shanks back. I don't know when it was discovered that Figurlin Shanks was alive and was a pirate. I don't know when the world government... I think we're going to get a lot of Shanks history in this, or maybe the next arc.
I think he did an ancestry.
Yeah, just...
And was like...
sold his DNA.
Fuck. It's like 90% celestial dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like, yeah, this guy comes strictly from this one kingdom where a family called the Figolins are. And there's so much of the same, like 5 bloodlines. Or 19 bloodlines mixed in. You alright?
Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I burnt my hand on my stovetop this morning, and I was just noticing my hairs are all charred off.
Cooking porridge?
Sure.
Don't
worry about it.
I didn't know about it, apparently.
I'm noticing all my charred finger hairs.
Yeah, no, we love that.
They have a slight smell to them. Anyway, back to One Piece.
All right, yeah, back to it. So we open up 1144 with Frankie and Ripley. And Ripley is showing Frankie an ancient facility.
Ooh, this was so big for me.
Yeah.
I think this is a really big thing. I'm not seeing it discussed a lot.
No, I think... So 3 millennia. Correct me if I'm wrong. 3,000 years at least.
I did double check that. That is correct.
That's good. I didn't. 3,000 years at least. Obviously, giants' lifespans are usually around, 400 years is an old giant.
Yeah.
So I think that's many, many generations. And I think it leans into what the world was like pre-Void Century.
And they have no record of the building.
Yeah.
That was the big one for me.
Going back 3,000 years. So it could be... This could be a building from the First World spoken about in the mural.
Could be.
This could be beyond Ancient Kingdom. Which I have recently learned actually translates less as ancient, because the word used for like the ancient weapons is the Japanese word for ancient. If we translate it, the Ancient Kingdom comes out more as the Great Kingdom. So maybe there are less of a connection to the ancient weapons. Maybe the ancient weapons are prior to the Ancient Kingdom, just by using the same word.
And that's why you should be listening to the Mocktown podcast for little tidbits like that.
Yeah, look, well, I don't know Japanese. I don't claim to know. I defer my knowledge to people that are bilingual and speak Japanese. A lot of them content creators. They could be pulling our legs. I'm going to trust them. I'm going to trust them. I have no other option. I can't fact check them.
But don't listen to those people. Listen to us instead.
Listen to us.
Down with a bit of humour, reality, I'm burning my hand over here.
That's real. That's a real thing that happened.
I spilt my coffee just before the podcast started, ruining the flow of everything.
Well, let's say it was a team effort because I was actually the spiller. But yeah, no, we came in. We see this building. I want to talk about Frankie's design real quick. Because he's got a beard and he's got a helmet-like headpiece. He does he have horns?
I believe he has horns.
Yes, he does have horns because in the mural he has horns. But he's also got a little headpiece with a little drop-down piece of metal. And I don't know if this is a connection or if I'm just stretching here, but there's a character from Adventure Time called Billy who resembles this Frankie design almost entirely, and Billy is very inspired by Viking mythology and stuff. He's like a giant. I doubt it. I don't know if Oda has seen Adventure Time, but knowing Oda's track record of referencing new Western media, I could see it happening. I could see a show like Adventure Time being something he was intrigued by.
Are you saying reference purely on the look?
Aesthetically.
Because for those who haven't finished Adventure Time or have gotten to the part where Billy kind of returns, he gets taken... Do you know this? How he's...
Yes.
He gets taken over by the Lich, which is like the big bad of Adventure Time.
So there could be more to it like that.
Is Frankie getting a virus?
Is something bad gonna happen to Frankie? I actually think this could be a very sad arc for Frankie. I think we're gonna see a lot of technological development from him with Vegapunk and this ancient facility. I think there is a lot of opportunity for Frankie's character to get a lot of growth, but I also could see that being negated by just him getting killed or maimed to the point where he has to turn into The Sunny.
Oh, it's gonna do like an Ultron thing.
Yeah.
From Age of Ultron.
Yes.
Marvel movie where he's gonna die, but he's gonna turn his mind into the Sunny because he's a cyborg. Surely sorry, I was about to call the ship the Frankie, the going Frankie.
The going Frankie, the Sunny.
The Thousand Sunny is gonna have its own computer that he's gonna be the Jarvis.
I would really like that.
I would really the Jarvis for Luffy.
It was set up that old mate Vegapunk would be that character, but Vegapunk looks like he wants to throw back to the last episode. He wants to go back to a corporeal form, a real form.
Throwing that word out again.
I am, yeah. I just wanted to throw back the reference, but
shout out to viewers of the last 2 episodes.
Yeah,
corporeal form.
But yeah, no, I think this is gonna be a really interesting arc for Frankie, and I think the fact that he's separated from the conflict means that he is going to be the moment of pause where we get facts or information or lore that will come through from Frankie's perspective, and it already has with the mural. He is the first and only person to see the mural from this crew. I'm not sure if Vegapunk has seen it in the past, maybe, but I also wouldn't be shocked if this is something that is completely just Frankie and Giants know, and then people like Gabon and Shanks and the Roger Pirates and stuff that have completed this, source of knowledge. They probably also have seen it, but I think right now it's just Frankie that's on the island that knows it.
It's a big deal, the mural.
It's a really big deal. We've got a break week next week.
We're going to do a bit of a deep dive on the mural.
We're going to do a deep dive on the mural. We're going to really get to, break down what we're seeing in the mural.
Tell you what it's really about.
Yeah.
Every other One Piece podcaster or whatever TikToker, they're all wrong.
They're probably also right when they say the same things that we're about to say.
We're going to say it with confidence.
Say it with your chest and everyone will believe you.
I'll stumble and stutter a few times, but boy, are my thoughts and feelings about the mural going to be the best ever.
Yeah. No, we're going to... I've been studying. I've been trying to learn. I think it's going to be a big week for me. I'm going to be hitting the books, hitting the mural. I'm going to have it. I'm going to print off mural, wallpaper size mural, and I'm just going to
dot point everywhere.
Mark everything. Just points. It's going to be outrageous. I'm not going to do that.
Do it.
Do it.
Little red strings going around.
Yeah. Charlie. Anyone gets that Away Sunny reference? Shout out.
Leave it in the comments.
But yeah, no. So it was a pretty quick start to the chapter. We don't get a whole lot of information. It's a little back and forth between Vegapunk, Bonnie, Frankie, and Ripley. It's nothing really too intense. They just bring up that Ripley says it's over at least 3 millennia old. No one knows it's
Ripley doesn't say that.
No.
It's the
Vegapunk. Yeah, okay. Okay, well, yeah.
Ripley goes, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, we don't have any records of this.
Okay, so Vegapunk's gone in there, done his little science thing. He goes, wow, this is at least 3,000 years old.
What I'm enjoying, though, Bonnie is just staying kid.
Yeah.
Bonnie is now officially feeling safe.
Joy. I think this is something I actually did want to get into later. I think an apprentice is going to join the crew. And I want to debate that topic later in the episode.
Let's get to it. Later in the episode.
So let's just move on. It starts to show where all the dream nightmare manifestations are attacking. It starts to split them up. They are no longer all standing together. They are fighting their own battles. And we see initially the Draugr and Fenrir. They're the two that first get shown. Fenrir going after Saul.
Skeleton and wolf.
A Draugr, yep. And a wolf, yeah, is a skeleton. Yeah. And Fenrir is a wolf from mythology. It's actually Loki's son.
In Norse mythology.
In Norse mythology. And I believe has a very large part to do with Ragnarok. So I think we could see a real Fenrir pop up. But this may also just be Oda's one moment to reference it, where he goes, all right, I've got nowhere to put a big wolf. I'll just do it here.
Here's a big wolf.
Yeah. And then everyone goes, all right, we got the Fenrir we wanted. It's obviously in the mythology within Elbaph, so that opens up a fair few doors in that.
Ooh. Sorry. I had a brain blast. What if Loki's devil fruit is Fenrir? So there's that connection.
Yeah, it very well could be.
Giant wolf.
Yeah, mythical Zoan. They tend to have powers even when they're not active. They have passive powers, as we've seen with Luffy, as we've seen with Marco. His flames are still active, or he can activate his flames at will. He doesn't have quite the Logia level of stagnant ability, but it could be that Fenrir has abilities that Oda just is gonna give him. They don't have to always be mythologically correct, but he could give him powers and then make him have the Fenrir devil fruit. I think Loki is probably leaning more to I think he could have the Gumu Gumu no Mi.
The official, the official Gum.
Yeah, something like that, and they think it's the Nika fruit, but I also don't think that's the case, just because there's been reference to the lightning, there's reference to the this, that, and the other, but the technology could be the lightning could be coming from his hammer.
And the Vegapunk said there is no official
Gum fruit. Yeah, you're right. So it is going to be interesting, like, when we find out Loki's devil fruit. There's definitely something special about it.
Maybe there isn't.
But that's what I feel. I feel it may be a matter of they think they have the human fruit model Nika, and they don't. And they have a fruit that is emulating some of the abilities of it. And as I touched on last episode, if all abilities are driven by imagination, if you imagine your fruit can do this thing, it can do it, and you're not constrained by the fruit itself. If it's a mythical zone or something like that.
What do you think of that? I know this isn't anything to do with the most recent chapter, but that saying of, like, whatever you think a fruit can do, it can do that. I want your quick little opinion and thought on that.
I think that
Bit
is
of an ass pull for me.
I think that is the core of devil fruits. I think all devil fruits were given as blank slates.
Lame.
I think all devil fruits were given blank slates, and I would assume either pre-Ancient Kingdom or Ancient Kingdom created devil fruits. It seems like the Nika character has been around. We know they've been around significantly longer than the Ancient Kingdom, but it could be that what devil fruits do now, Haki used to do back in the day. And it was just a really brave Lunarian fella who was known as the liberator of the world. But I do think that a lot of devil fruits are given a clean slate, and then they're named. People chose what they wanted to do with them, gave them a name. There was maybe only a finite amount of them, and then once their will had bound to the fruit, and their desires had bound to the fruit was bound by those desires. But I think if you can imagine it being done by your fruit, it can be done, because ultimately they are still a clean slate. You can do whatever you want with them.
I think I'd hate that.
Really?
Yeah. Someone being like, oh, I wish I could be everywhere at once. Chop fruit.
Yeah. Well, that could also be someone being like, I'm deathly afraid of swords. I wish I would never die by a sword. Chop fruit. Every time you get chopped, you just break apart.
I feel like then we would be seeing more of the same devil fruits. Sure, there are some, like Oven, who's got that heat fruit, and then there was that guy in the snow somewhere that had like a furnace fruit. Yeah,
and then you've also got, you've got the big. You've also got the flame Nomi and the magma fruit. Like, ultimately, there is many fruits that are just iterations of the same ability. Some lesser, some better. Like, yeah.
There's the ton and the kilo.
Kilo, ton. You know, what are you going to get? The graham fruit, and you can just touch them and
Light as a feather.
Light as a feather. Like, I think there's a lot of possibilities with what devil fruits are. And I got to admit, I think I said this last episode, I was disappointed in Oda. I thought he should have presented all this knowledge in Egghead. I guess it looks like maybe this facility will be the facility where they were made. Devil fruits or a connection to the earliest devil fruits, and this is where we're going to get the information, because maybe Oda wants Vegapunk to learn at the same time as everyone else the true history of devil fruits. Because I think devil fruits are going to have their own moment to get the history. Yeah, they're not going to be a flash in the pan during the ancient kingdom or the poneglyph raid that is inevitably going to come on Laugh Tale. I don't think there'll be just a line or something in that. I think there will be an earlier history to them, and it'll be able to be deduced without having to use the poneglyphs. And maybe a facility that's over 3,000 years old is a place you can get that information.
Yeah.
Elbaph's ancient.
It is very ancient.
It's old.
Older than most things so far.
Yeah, well, I can't remember how old exactly Dressrosa is, but I do remember the Tontatas have records going back, I think, maybe 3,000 years as well.
It's been a while since I've read about the Tontatas.
The Tontatas are very small, but they do have a history because they talk about their history pre-Void Century about how evil the Don Quixote family was. But they left Dressrosa in that 100 years void. So I think there's definitely a lot of room for history to go further back than 800 years, and that history to be just as important as what's happened in the last 800 years. Just personally. Your thoughts?
You're saying the Tontata history goes back to the 100-year void?
The Tontata history goes back further.
But you said to the Don Quixote family.
The Don Quixote family left Dressrosa during or at the end of the Void Century because they became celestial dragons.
CDs.
And then there is 770 years of history between then and now, and then Don Quixote do Flamingo takes over Dressrosa again.
Is that why he goes to...
That's why, because he goes back.
I paid no attention, apparently.
Yeah, that's why he goes back to Dressrosa, because that was his old family's kingdom.
Right.
And he knew he could take it over, and the world government weren't going to stop him because he was a celestial dragon, and technically the celestial dragons are still the gods of those countries.
And that's why I'm the co-host.
I will... I can try and get the Tontata history up.
No, that's fine. We can get that for the next chap and do a little Tontata history for the next one if people are curious.
Yeah, we can talk. Look, Tontatas aren't that.
You don't get to say it because we're filming these episodes back to back.
Hell yeah!
You just burp?
I didn't do nothing.
Birthday burp.
Yeah, and then so basically we get introduced to the creatures we're fighting for this chapter. It then moves on to Ja Rule, where Nami, Jinbei, they haven't boarded with Colin yet. They're chatting and they tell Ja Rule, they go, "Hey, we saw some holy knights coming out of the castle," and they give that little, and they go, "There's at least two." And then Ja Rule says, "Hey, let's be on the lookout for two." And then someone's like, "Hey, Brooke, not someone." Brooke says, "I think there's more," which Brooke is correct. Two is a limited number. Brooke made the right assumption, but Ja Rule seems pretty useless.
Can we trust him?
I don't, in the slightest. He seems complacent. He seems not that interested. Like, you think a guy like Ja Rule would be the king, technically, or like one of the chiefs, would be going after the kids, and instead that's going to the giant that's not even an Elbaph giant. He's doing that. Just a friendly scholar is doing all the
teacher.
work. A teacher.
Saul.
Saul.
What a good man.
Jaguar D. Saul. So obviously he's not just any old fella. He's got a bit of history to him. But, you know, Ja Rule's not doing anything. He just sort of stays there, kicks his feet up.
If you understood my reference, please leave it in the comments. I don't think Saxon got it.
I don't think I got it.
No, that's fine. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. I'm sorry.
Saul, a good man.
Yep. Better call him. And then this is when movement... we get a little bit of movement from the Straw Hats. We have Colin getting a ship. I do want to talk about Colin's ship and the old warrior pirate ship that show up in this chapter. There is obviously the floating clouds with the paddles to row along them, so these guys can basically fly. Do you think this is an upgrade the Sunny gets?
Ooh.
Basically fast travel.
So how does it work? Is it a special cloud that... we don't know how
We
these
don't
things
know.
work.
We don't know. I'm sure we're going to get an explanation from Nami at some point. I think this is something that will be spoken about once it's cooled off. Maybe something at the end of the arc, where Nami goes, "Hey, they were really cool. Were you using this cloud to do that? How do you generate that? How do you keep it on the paddle?" I'm sure we'll get all that knowledge. I could see us getting that upgrade, especially because I think the next arc is Merijois.
Look, I would normally say, "Oh, we're getting an upgrade," but when was the last time we really got like a big upgrade besides Gear 5 and Enma? Because
And exoskeleton.
yeah, well, he got the raid suit. Sanji got the raid suit in the Wano fight.
Put it on in the Wano fight. Activated his exoskeleton.
Threw it away.
Threw it away.
Then we saw the laser gloves, the light gloves in Egghead. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is how they'll fight Kizaru." Those gloves have never returned.
No, that was a really weird...
Been like, yeah.
I think that was just a reference. I think he was just like, being like, this is a cool idea I have, or I saw, I'm going to put it in.
Which is something to do with like one of the main bad guys.
Yeah. Then again, it could be
Arc.
Chekhov's gun. You know, you've got this thing, you toss it aside. We don't know what goodies were stolen from Egghead because they just drank on their whole trip from Egghead to Elbaph. I think we're preparing to get more Egghead epilogue with Elbaph. I think a part of the Egghead story will never be completed until Vegapunk is revived, and that won't happen until Elbaph is stable.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. That just feels like the most like literary. I don't imagine Oda being like, I'm going to start dropping facts in the middle of a fight. That just doesn't seem...
I feel like that's very Oda, though.
It is. He did do that with Wano, actually.
And Egghead, the countdown.
And also, I literally just said before that Frankie, Ripley, Bonnie, and Vegapunk are separated from conflict right now.
Which Vegapunk is that?
That is Lilith. That's the first Vegapunk we see. Comes out with the giant robots.
I miss Daft Punk.
I also miss Shaka a lot. I really like Shaka. Was he your favorite Vegapunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, Satellite.
He was harder, he was better, he was faster, and he was stronger.
Yeah. I quite liked, was it Pythagoras, the small one?
Yeah, the little robot one.
Little robot one? I like that little guy.
Wind him up.
I liked him. Plus, he was the one that saved Vegapunk, ultimately, because he was the one that
Saved himself.
let Egghead, let the brain float to the sky. Which also, yeah, Vegapunk's so smart. He did so many just really smart things.
Needs to write a book.
Yeah. It's hard. I can't imagine. It must be very difficult writing intelligent characters if you're not super intelligent. So I assume that Oda has to be pretty smart with everything he's done.
Side note to One Piece, but like in comics, when there's like a Reed Richards, someone who's like, I'm doing these calculations. Do you have to fucking... Like, do comic book writers have to get
No.
a scientist to be like, this makes sense?
No.
Or is this why they make up, like, adamantium?
But that's why they do it. Because, like, they'll go... Like, Reed Richards is a great example. Every time they're just being like, I'm going to do something smart, it's never like a smart response to a situation. It's always like, oh, I'm just going to do this smart thing, and then we can respond.
Let me quickly make this equation off screen.
Yeah. And then you do it, and then they go, all right, bang. Where Oda, he's writing characters that are, like, especially his intelligent characters, he writes them in a way where you're like, they're situationally intelligent. They're not just...
They got street smarts.
Off the
Can't
side.
teach that.
You can't. You gotta... Vegapunk grew up in the hood. But yeah, no, really, I think we're getting some interesting stuff, and maybe I am wrong. Maybe we will get all this lore and information peppered throughout the arc by having Frankie, the only one who's interested in science, really. Usopp excluded. Usopp, I think, would love to be with Vegapunk and Frankie right now and would benefit from it, but he wants to be a brave warrior of the sea. He's got to fight with giants. He can't be off gallivanting in a science facility, or what we presume is a science facility. But yeah, it was a pretty nice little end, I think. Or to getting onto the ship, a beginning of the remaining Straw Hats joining the fight. So we've got Sanji, Zoro, and Luffy with
all together with Loki,
Hirunden, and a few of the other warrior pirates.
Yep, the Doctor, the
guy that has Big Mum's homie as a shield.
Yeah, we'll get into that next.
Yep, that's next chapter. You're right. Sorry, it's hard when you're a week behind. Goldberg, that's his name. Hell yeah, I'm impressed by that. I assume you enjoy or you remember the names pretty well because Declan here is a big fan of wrestling.
Big old fan.
And I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but the Elbaph Giants are all named after like 1980s, 1990s wrestlers for the most part. They're all references to them. Oda's a big wrestling fan. He's admitted that in the past.
Can't wait to meet the giant named Jushin Thunder Liger.
I don't know what any of that is, but I love it. Have your hobby. Have your hobby, King.
Thanks, King.
But yeah, so the remaining crew, Jinbei included, Brooke as well. They jump onto the ship with Colin. Nami is like, this guy's an absolute cutie. Absolutely loves Colin, and he's like, I want to be a captain. I think there is a relationship getting built between the Straw Hats and Colin.
Is history going to repeat itself?
Which history would that be?
Luffy wanting to join Shanks?
Loki wanting to join...
That's next chapter.
Yep. That's next chapter. Sorry about that. Let's move on. Yes, Luffy wanting to join Shanks. Colin wanted to join Shanks.
Kid that we've seen that wants to join a pirate crew.
Yeah.
And the only so far.
No, Colin also wants to join Shanks.
Yep.
Yeah. That was earlier.
I'm the co-host.
Otama wants to join Luffy.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a common theme.
Yeah.
But the beauty is,
it's
no one says yes.
It's a common theme for Luffy. Are there other pirates out there who want to join Shanks?
I think there are other pirates. I think there are young children who want to join the strongest pirates crews for pretty much everyone. I think, I think pirate crews and apprentices clearly are a thing that exist in the One Piece world. We had the strongest pirate crew include 2 apprentices, both Yonkos now. Buggy, he's got the title for a reason.
Well, Blackbeard was a part of Whitebeard's crew.
Blackbeard was a part of Whitebeard's crew as a child. He got picked up by Blackbeard. I think he was like 13, 14 when he got picked up. So children being in pirate crews, not super uncommon.
Do you think the pirate apprenticeship is just like a 4-year diploma?
No, I think it's just like you get signed off one day. They're like, all right, you're a pirate now.
You get your experience.
Yeah, you get your experience.
Signed off.
I assume it must have been grueling on the Roger Pirates. I reckon they'll probably like to Buggy, like, you're never an official pirate, Shanks. They were like, you have to have all 3 forms of Haki to become a pirate. Just like, we're going to make these guys powerhouses. And one of them was a disappointment.
Yeah, maybe only Shanks got signed off.
It feels like that because it doesn't feel like once Buggy got sick that the Roger Pirates ever communicated with him again. Like, we know Shanks went and saw Scopper. We know Shanks went and saw Rayleigh. You know, there's very strong chance that he went and saw Gabon. And it looks like it's all in preparation for the Sun God Nika fruit that is going to be sailing through the Grand Line. Doesn't feel like Buggy was ever a part of that. It felt like...
I don't think he cared. He just wanted treasure.
Yeah.
He wants gold.
Yeah, he didn't care. He didn't care. He never asked about where it was, but we know his dream to chase the One Piece died when Shanks said he wouldn't do it. Buggy wanted to start a crew with Shanks and get the One Piece with Shanks. But Shanks said, "Nuh-uh, I'm not doing it."
Now, could that be because Buggy has a devil fruit and Shanks knows something?
It could be. It could also be that Shanks knows he's not the guy. And Roger has asked the strongest Roger pirates to set up.
Get the guy.
Find the guy, give him. And we all know who the guy was. Roger intended the guy to be Ace.
Yep.
Roger has a child. Ace gives him to Garp. Shanks is aware that Garp and Dragon and such are from... what's the island called? Luffy's home island? The Goa Kingdom.
Yep.
I know that's the name of but I don't remember the island. Syrup Village. But I think what it was Roger said, "Hey, Shanks," hence the scene where Shanks is crying into Roger's arms. He goes, "You're not the guy. I need you to get this devil fruit, and I need you to give it to my son." So Shanks gets the devil fruit. I'm assuming it would have been quite an arduous task being held by CP 0 at the time or 9 at the time.
It was 9.
Yeah. Who's Who specifically was the main guardian of the Sun God fruit. He gets the fruit. He immediately goes to the Goa Kingdom knowing he needs to find Ace, and Ace is likely there because that's likely where Garp had taken him for safekeeping. So I think there was a very strong possibility that Shanks was the start. Scopper was like, here's how you get into the Grand Line. Like, be prepared. Give whoever has the gum fruit a log pose. Or give young, inspiring pirates that he sees could be that person a log pose. Just so they aren't getting onto the Grand Line and immediately being crushed. Then you get to Sarbodi. You can't enter the New World without at least armament hockey. Like, you're not going to be able to fight half the people. It seems like, other than just sort of fodder, everyone has 2 types of hockey, or at least one. At least armament. So it was like, Rayleigh was like the stopgap to be like, here is how you get hockey, and he would have trained other aspiring pirates who he thought had the chance to be the Sun God.
Now, was Kuma a part of this?
I don't think so. I think Kuma is different in the fact that he is a revolutionary, and it's now clear, based on his flashback, that he knew Luffy was Dragon's son. But I don't know if he knew... I assume he knew Luffy was Dragon's son during Thriller Bark. Because he knew before that, but he could have also been like, this is just another kid.
Yeah.
I think so.
I would assume he knew.
As a 7 warlord, he would have known his name was Monkey D. Luffy.
Yeah, because Luffy's bounty has always said Monkey D.
Yeah. He'd be like, damn, that sounds like my boss's name.
Yeah. And he knows at least that Dragon is Garp's son. So he would know Monkey D. Garp is a very popular name. It's not like Garp has hidden the D from his name, which isn't a testament to how strong he is, because Saul was just Saul. And then he tells Robin, like, my name's actually Jaguar D. Saul. So yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting possibilities to to that. But I do feel like Gabon is set up to give whoever it is the last push. Whether it's, I know where the last road poneglyph is, and are you worthy of it? Hence the testing fight in the castle.
Which was over pretty quick.
Over very quick. He knew. He
was
was like, all right, I feel your haki. I know you're strong enough. I think there could also be connections with Gabon to more advanced haki. We obviously got advanced conquerors
Yep.
in Wano. And advanced armament with Rio.
Yeah, was that punch?
Yes,
That
Rio is where you punch the tree and then it like
The
creates
inside
an
explodes.
an energy ball basically. We got advanced observation we got in Whole Cake Island with Future Sight and Katakuri. And advanced conquerors we also got in Wano. But I think maybe we didn't fully. So I think we may get a little bit more haki training on like what advanced conquerors is.
How to focus it in.
How to focus it better. Because right now it's like, oh, you can imbue your punch with conqueror's haki, but it doesn't really feel like it's anything other than armament with conquerors activated.
Gabon did something we haven't seen any of the crew do, is cover something with haki.
Yes, that's a really good... When was that?
He covered the key in Armament haki.
You're right, he did. Okay, that's...
And then shoved it in Luffy's mouth.
Yeah. That's something
That's
we
a little
don't know how to do. So I think there's going to be haki training from Gabon. I think there will be... Probably a large part of Gabon will be directing them to where the final poneglyph is.
He'll be like, hey, kid, why don't you cover this spear in Armament haki? And
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean? He's like, just do this.
Speaking on the final poneglyph.
Yeah.
So we know it's in a black ship.
Mm-hmm.
Surrounded by whirlpools.
Uh-huh.
Now, do you think
Yep.
it's connected to Monkey D. Dragon? Because we do know, and I know a lot of people, they use the anime coloring for it. The Wind Grandma is not black in the anime. The Wind Grandma, is black in the manga, though. And there's obviously shading around, which people go, that's not all black. There's white stripes. Guys, that's shading. That's so we can see detail on the ship. It's not because the ship itself has those white lines. It's just the way the light is reflecting. It's the way you have to draw it in order to be able to see literally anything in the ship, or else it would just be a silhouette. And it's not. We get a detailed picture of it.
Is this when they first referenced the black ship in the last poneglyph?
No, so the black ship is referenced by Eustace Kid at the end of Wano. He goes, we're going to go find the black ship. And then Luffy and everyone's like, what's that? And then Captain Kid's like, you don't know I know something you don't know. Wow, this is so funny. And then I think Law also knows, and Law just tells everyone. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, there's a guy riding around in a black ship. There's whirlpools around it. Black ship, whirlpools. Now, I can only think of one black ship we've ever seen. It's the Wind Grandma. It's also called the Wind Grandma. It seems like from introduction, the dragon has some sort of weather-based ability. I think it's a really logical point to look at and go, all right, dragon has the last poneglyph. And what's better than, like, where's the best person to protect the last poneglyph? The guy who's going to stop people that have ties with the world government. He's not going to let a warlord get it because he's like, you guys work for the world government. He's not going to let a Yonko who he doesn't think is... And he's the world's highest bounty. So he's clearly strong. Like, dragon has to be strong.
Yeah, I don't think I ever really thought that it wouldn't be someone from the world government or like a pirate. I haven't really thought about this as like someone that's just protecting it at all costs, so no one can get to it.
Yes. See, that's how I read it. I read it as protect at all costs, and like I get it. It could also be a very clear red herring. Oda goes, here's a guy with a ship called the Wind Grandma. It's mostly black. It is led by a guy who has multiple references to weather-based abilities, but it's not him. it could be that, and it's an entirely new character. There were people that thought it was Saul, 'cause it's the man marked by burn scars or the man marked by flames. It could be a reference to
The scarring.
the tattoo or the scarring, because like that red pattern on Dragon's face could be like he could have fought a Kainu and like a Kainu shot like a piece of metal at him or something. Something stuck to his face. Magma caused that
Barbecue
scarring.
grill exploded.
Could be that. Could be that.
Take your sip. Enjoy that coffee. Yeah, I think we haven't really seen Dragon on a boat a whole lot though. I feel like he's mostly parked up somewhere. So I feel like if you're protecting this poneglyph, you'd want someone that's always out in sea. So maybe it is someone that Dragon's like, you're gonna protect this for me.
Yeah, he could do that. He could give someone the chance to do the work for him. I feel like it would be one of those things where if he's got wind powers, he probably just has it off the coast of Kamabaka Queendom. Or he may just have it self-powered by his own wind, sitting somewhere.
That's why he's always so silent, because he's just concentrating.
Could be.
No, I don't think that.
I don't think he needs to. I think he's silent because he's just like a cool cat. Cool cats don't speak, and he's a cool cat.
He's pretty cool.
I love the Revolutionaries. I think they are my favorite faction outside of the Straw Hats in One Piece.
They're fun.
They're really fun. I love them. I think they are just like so accepting of people. They are based. They know what is happening.
If they were in the real world, they would be destroying Tesla.
They would be. It would if they were in the real world. I think a lot of people would be scared. A lot of people would be scared.
Say something bad. I'm not gonna say it.
That's it. But yeah, it was. I think it's an interesting possibility that it's not him. I think it's definitely set up to be him. And I never know if it's like with Oda, if it's like, do we just know this story so well that it's actually really small details that make us realize, the black ship, the wind name, the wind blowing at Logtown. Is that all because we know the series so well, so it's actually these are really small little bits of information that helped us deduce this? Or is this stuff that he deliberately put in to throw us off? I would say, based on the appearance of Dragon's ship, and then where the third poneglyph is, it seems as though this was all set up. Like, you wouldn't know that, or like, there's such a big gap between finding out Dragon has a mostly blacked out ship, and its name is the Wind Grandma. There's such a big gap that it makes it feel like, okay, maybe Oda is alluding to the fact that it is Dragon who is holding that final road poneglyph. And I also feel like, character-wise, it makes sense.
Former Marine.
Knew
where to find it. Just
potentially.
Grabbed it.
Potentially. It could also be that because he left the Marines. Now, was Roger dead when O'Hara happened?
So was Luffy alive? No, because of Robin.
It was 17 years ago, so I think it was a year Luffy was. No, yeah, okay. That's going to be something I want to delve into more in a future episode, because we are planning with break weeks to record episodes just talking about other big events that obviously there's room for speculation on. And I think the Revolutionaries and the whole O'Hara incident will be one that we really delve into. So maybe it's worth, while I don't have the most knowledge or like facts, that it's not worth reading into it.
Yep.
Because right now, there's obviously the layer of like, I don't remember fully.
And we're also doing very loose chapter reviews.
Yeah.
We're talking about topics and then getting distracted.
We are. It's literally impossible to talk about unless you go panel by panel. And I think...
Boring.
Yeah, I think if we want to talk about One Piece, we're going to talk about the current events and how they connect to other things. We're not going to talk about, like, I don't want to look at each panel and scour to see if Oda drew a little background
Little panda
character.
man.
Yeah, like, I would love to find another panda man. Haven't seen him in a while.
Wano last time?
No, he's in it every arc, so he would have had to have been an egghead.
Probably
I just don't know when.
One of the crew that was just...
Probably when they were abandoning.
Yeah.
When they were evacuating all the people. But yeah, basically we end this chapter pretty easily with just Gabon setting up. Like he's like, I'm ready to go. I'm rearing.
Oh, something else briefly happened before that. Gunko was listening to New World.
New World, a song by Sulking Brook. Thank you, Declan, for bringing that one to attention. I actually presumed it was a song by... What's that name?
Another One Piece
No.
musician?
What's the... from Film Red.
Yeah, leave it in the
Shanks'
comments.
daughter. Shanks's, kid, apprentice. I honestly, I assumed that was her song, but it makes more sense that it's Skulking Brook. Sulking. Skulking.
What is that?
What is her name? I keep thinking Ulti, but it's not. That's
I was thinking the same thing.
yeah. I don't know. Let's just double check.
Yeah, so I think there was going to be definitely something happening between Gunko and Brook. Gunko always in underwear, in panties, dare I say. And what is Brook always asking for? May I see your panties?
Yo.
He can see him.
So what's gonna happen there? Does Gunko know that's what Brook is always wanting? Is that why Gunko... I don't know. There's all these little things of like Gunko. Yeah. Anyway, I think it'll be an interesting meet up when they do eventually meet, which might be getting covered in the next episode.
Yeah, definitely. I think
Next
you
chapter.
guys are probably all aware, if you're watching this, that 11:45's out, and next chapter, it starts to Uta. Yeah.
Uta.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it as well. I can see where we came from. But yeah, I think we'll get deeper. I actually want to talk about Gunko. I have some theories on her history and maybe who she is. Because it seems like she's treated different or she acts differently to other Celestials. It seems as though she is not a born Celestial dragon. She's not one of the 19 families. It seems like her path to Celestial dragon status was brought about by her ability to fight and her entry into the Holy Knights. But that could all be speculation and something I want to talk about next episode. So yeah, it was a setup chapter, and ultimately 10:45 is a setup chapter too, because real conflict starts next week. The real conflicts are really going to start next week. Gunko, yeah, that conflict's going to start soon. So yeah, we're all done on the talking of 10:44.
Yep.
I've got no more points. We've reached the end of the chapter. Is there anything you're like thinking from this?
For me, it was the laboratory. That was the big one.
Yeah. I think the
That was most
laboratory's
exciting.
like, I'm really excited. I'm hoping next chapter we get a little bit of, I could see this getting like into the laboratory, just a page, seeing the inside of it, while the Gunko fight, and then also the Loki and Luffy Lord conversation that's happening, Elbaph history, which is really interesting because I gotta say, it's not often that Luffy is one listening and two taking part, even like being around history conversations. He doesn't care about your past. He does not care. He always said that, and that's why he took to Loki so quickly. But yeah, I want to get into that next episode. I think we're gonna keep up with the fun game of last week. I'm just gonna go grab my posters. I'm sorry.
Oh, so we're still doing... Okay.
You want to keep doing that?
No, I forgot. I was ready to... Bit of a good little goodbye thing we do.
No.
But if you've
We're
made
back.
It, if you've we're back
With
we'll
round
probably,
two
we'll probably
of
cut that little bit out.
Wanted.
And if you've made it this far into the podcast, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. We've just hit the 1 hour mark, or coming up to it.
Well, with some slight editing.
Yeah, we're gonna edit some things. Probably this conversation, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
More work for me.
We have got Wanted. I don't know if you guys remember the rules from last week, but basically...
Wanted. Wait, how does the screen go?
Wanted.
I'll chuck that in.
Basically, rules of the game. Zoro needs some money.
Uh-oh.
He's got to go collect a bounty. I got some bounty posters. Is it worth him going after the bounty? Does he have a chance winning the bounty? Would he go after the bounty? And then, what do we think of the character that he has just imprisoned? Did they deserve to go to Impo Down? Should he have let them live? Let's find out.
Let me pick. You gonna shuffle or is it pre-shuffle? Stop.
I got.
I'm just gonna go for this discolored one. I don't know what it is. So I'm going for
Kaido. Well, this is fun because we've seen Kaido versus Zoro. We've seen what Kaido can do versus Zoro. Ultimately, Kaido. Zoro is the reason. Like Kaido is the reason Zoro has that bounty. I think a guy getting a billy, especially as a second man on the crew and the third person to get $1 billion on a crew, fourth person, sorry. That all comes from just how ridiculously strong Kaido is. And ultimately, the only way Zoro's getting Kaido's bounty is if he swims to the bottom of a lava pool and finds Kaido's potentially dead body down there. Potentially also fully alive body.
because I think only maybe Zoro now might be able.
No, I don't say it. I think Kaido is still and will end the series as one-on-one the strongest fighter.
I'm all for that. Yeah, I don't think Zoro's got it.
But and people are obviously going to say, like, what about Luffy? He beat Kaido. He beat Kaido after losing about
The whole
4 times.
Ninja Clan attacked.
The whole Ninja Clan attacked.
Eustace, Traffy.
Which they Kaido also refers to the attack done by the Odin's retainers as being equivalent to Odin's slash. Like it does the same amount of damage as Odin's slash. And then he takes another one of those hits from Zoro. And also he takes a ridiculous hit from Killer. Like Kaido, he also got bitten by other dragon, Momonosuke. Yes. Wasn't a huge Momonosuke guy. Not a huge fan of his character arc. I thought I would have liked to have seen him maybe be a little bit braver and ready to step up before aging himself to the correct age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have preferred him to maybe grow up a little bit more.
That's a tricky one. I think we'll get into that maybe break week.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, they definitely should have been like we age you up physically and maybe maturity should have been aged up as well.
Yeah.
The fact that it's still a 9-year-old
12-year-old boy,
12-year-old
yeah.
child.
Yeah, it also
Bit
could
silly.
be the fact that, like, next time we see him, we're going to see an aged up Momo, or, like, maturity-wise. I thought maybe this may be the direction Yamato's pilgrimage was going to go in. I thought she was going to maybe have some more communication with Momo than we got. But it looks like this is strictly Yamato's doing. But yeah, okay. Let's talk about Kaido. How do we feel about Kaido as a villain, an arc villain?
Pretty sick, man. Like I think the first introduction when he's just walking on the clouds, and it's like, man, this dude just wants to kill himself. I feel like when they first introduced him, it definitely the character changed a little bit.
Yeah,
he was a lot more like, yeah, I'm a big dog. I don't want to kill myself because he didn't seem like that. Maybe that's just how he is when he's very emotional and drunk, which we did see.
Yes, yeah.
Even at one point, Luffy complimented him, and Kaido started blushing.
Yes, that did happen. I believe Luffy was like, "You're so strong," and then Kaido was like, "Stop it,
me." But Kaido was sick. Awesome design. I think we're gonna during break week, we're going to really go into the design of Kaido.
Yeah, because I think this is actually probably a really good time to talk about it. We both think with this man's horns and this man's
Big body.
and devilish good looks, this might be another bastard son of the king.
King
Harold.
Harry.
King Harold. I think it makes a lot of sense. We know already that Hasrudin is not a full-blooded Elbaph giant and is instead a half giant on another hand. Maybe he only brought Hasrudin to Elbaph because he was half giant, and Kaido may just be half human. And I think the only race will just be a half human, half giant. Hence the reason we see Yamato human-sized, large human-sized.
With horns?
With horns. I think she is maybe 3 generations removed from Ancient Giant. Harold is 1 generation. Kaido is generation 2. She's generation 3. And the thing that has stayed is the horns. I also think just like facially, there's a lot of structural resemblance to Harold.
I will find it. There was someone that did a comparison and they overlaid them. I'll chuck that in here.
Yeah.
You can see.
Because that portrait of Harold we get in the castle, it's just Kaido without horns.
But no horns. Wait, King Harold cut his horns off? Or did King
Harold tore his horns off as a sign of, like, as a way to say, like, I don't want to be the war-faring Elbaph of Ancient. I want a peaceful Elbaph. I'm going to rip my horns out. There could have been other reasons for that. We discovered, I think it was last chapter, that Loki, who, I will admit, it looked like his horns came from his hat and weren't a part of him. But Loki is a horned fella.
Some say the nicest horns.
Those ones they're long.
Straight up.
We're adding sound effects now. Do them ourselves. I think there is a very strong chance that Kaido is a relative of Hasrudin and Loki, and that would be through Harold. It also seems like Harold had a lot more connection to the outside world of Elbaph
Possibly
than anyone
some
else.
connections to someone's mother.
Yes. Big Mum's mother.
Mother Carmel.
Mother Carmel, of course. Yes. Yes. No, I had a complete blank on that.
It's kind of funny that we've ended with the 2.
Yeah, with the 2. Yeah. And basically, how we're actually gonna end the episode is both of them are gonna hit Declan with a full powered attack, and he's gonna use Wado Ichimonji to block it in his mouth. Yep. That's how we're ending the episode.
Blade
or
out, blade in.
We're gonna end it by saying, I love cherry
hate
pies.
cherry pie.
I
love
hate
drink.
Thanks for coming to the Mocktown pub.
Happy birthday, Saxon.
Thank you very much. That was chapter 1144. Thank you for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Please like it.
Please subscribe. We're going to start moving more of our content to TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts. We're going to try and start clipping more. So if we can just get some support on our social media pages, that'd be awesome. To the 3 people that listened on Spotify this week. Yes. Love that for you guys. Thank you.
Mocktown
podcast. Mocktown. We're done.
I just wanted to say Mocktown loud so it appears on the screen.
I like that.
Yeah.
Sick.